How? where, what day did you watch AEW?
Would have been Thursday morning.
How are you feeling?
About what?
General.
What?
I've no. I've just I've noticed
Feeling
that
great, buddy. Thanks for asking.
I've just noticed that you've really been digging into this analysis, like of Cody's car and
Yeah, I think you enjoyed this episode of Dynamite more than me because we haven't even got to the best bit yet. You wait for this.
I just want to let you know that I first saw Colt Cabana wearing an Insane Clown Posse t-shirt in the women's match, and I was very close to turning it off. And I'm being serious about that because I thought Colt Cabana was going to turn up later in the show.
You hate him.
And he did.
You hate him so much.
I detest Colt Cabana. I'd rather spend 8 days with Dolph Ziggler.
You know he used to be color commentator for Ring of Honor.
I'm not planning on going into the back catalogue for that.
Can I tell you the thing I hated most about this show?
Go on.
First of all, I'm going to start it earlier in the show. Pineapple Pete has a promo, and the promo is a little bit silly in itself, but his delivery is really good, and he's talking about how his real name's Shug D, but Chris Jericho has recrowned him as Pineapple Pete. His life is great as Pete. No, it rhymed. I can't remember what it was, and he's got like a pineapple he's drinking out of, a coconut he's drinking out of. And I thought, hey, it's a really silly character, and you know what? He's been built up over these weeks as this silly guy, and his delivery was great. I'm really looking forward to their match. So we get to their match. Pineapple Pete comes out. He's doing his thing, and I'm really into this guy. For some reason, because they built him over for weeks. So I'm like, you know what? And I've got AEW have built this thing now where they've always been like, hey, we've got these guys and they can't beat our main eventers, but hey, Jungle Boy can take Chris Jericho to a 20-minute time limit draw. Darby Allin did it to Cody. All these lower guys can compete. They're just not good enough to get the win, but they're there. And then Chris Jericho comes out and fucking squashes him with one move.
Great stuff.
Pineapple Pete loses with what this guy could have been cemented as someone on the roster. He could have been a somebody.
No, great stuff.
No, listen to me.
Enjoyed it.
If Pineapple Pete nailed 10 moves, a badass suplex, and Chris Jericho, and then got a close, not even a close, just a slight 2 count, and then Chris Jericho's fuck this, and then does his move, and then you would be like, okay, Pineapple Pete can go. I'll watch him next week in the opening match, but now he's dead in the water. So what have we spent weeks doing? It's pointless.
I heavily disagree with you.
Pineapple Pete even got Pyro.
I heavily disagree.
You don't give Pyro to a jobber.
I love that sentence. Say that out of context of what we're doing right now. I heavily disagree. This was one of my highlights of the show because it proved to me that AEW doesn't have to build every fucker up every time all the time. Chris Jericho is Chris Jericho. He's built up guys like Darby Allin and Jungle Boy because Darby Allin and Jungle Boy, as we've said, are both really young, incredibly talented, and have a good character.
I've never seen this guy before ever, but he looks like he looks good.
I've got literally in my notes, I've word for word, Jericho jobbed Pete out and made him noticeable at the same time. The very fact that he's wearing Pete's shirt shows that he's trying to get him over.
I just feel like if Pete had got a 1 count or had just nailed a move, that would have made me interested to watch him again. Because right now I don't care.
But
or maybe I do care. Maybe that's why I'm so passionate about it.
Well, there you go. But you can't have every guy getting a fucking 2 count to Chris Jericho. I think Chris Jericho is beyond liberal with the stuff that he gives to guys. That he literally picked this guy out of the crowd and then beat him in a move. So what? We now know who Pineapple Pete is. Millions of people all over the world now know who Pineapple Pete is. Chris Jericho wore Pineapple Pete's t-shirt while beating Pineapple Pete. Pineapple Pete got TV time with Chris Jericho. I think that's enough. You get a random guy in to SmackDown, nameless, that Sheamus kills in half a minute. Chris Jericho needed a squash because Chris Jericho hasn't had a singles match since he lost the championship to Moxley. And what Chris Jericho decided to do, instead of just squashing a random guy from QT Marshall's gym, was build a jobber up to then job him out. And I liked it.
Well, when you say it like that, but they've invested me in this guy. I just wanted to, I don't know.
Go buy a t-shirt then, bro. AEW.com.
Well, anyway, so what's your opinion on the promo immediately after this match when Chris Jericho calls out Vanguard, which is Matt Hardy's drone? They have a little back and forth, which I'm assuming you didn't understand because that's been going on quite a while.
No idea.
And yeah, there is this great it's fantastic, where Chris Jericho is in a hot tub and he's doing a piece to Matt Hardy, and the drone comes, he's in like his backyard, and the drone comes in, and then Chris Jericho is like, release the hounds. And have you seen Chris Jericho's dogs? They're all like chihuahuas and tiny things. All these dogs come running out chasing after the drone. Then Chris Jericho gets out of his hot tub and he's just wearing leather trousers and a scarf in his hot tub. It was it's just so bad it's good. Anyway, so he's got history with this drone and he wanted to recruit it to the inner circle, which I can see that silliness. And then he decides to smash it with the bat. What's your feelings? What's your take?
I had no idea why Chris Jericho was shouting at a drone. I had no idea why he was treating the drone like a cruel ex-mistress.
I think even us that have been watching AEW don't understand why he's talking to a drone.
I did enjoy all of the inner circle beating the drone up with a baseball bat and then talking shit at it on the floor.
Like it's a real person.
But this does give me warning signs.
I think this is over now. I think this was the killing of the cheesy, silly Matt Hardy stuff.
Well, yeah, but Jericho is really, really good at comedy and he gets most of it over. Jericho is in control of a lot of creative. Jericho did this drone thing. Jericho does the Brady Bunch inner circle stuff. I think that it's got to be reined in. It's funny at the moment. Once again, I'm always looking to the future with AEW because I want them to do well. I think some of it's got to be reined in before Jericho becomes AEW's Hogan. The more control you give Jericho, the more he finds shit funny. The more you allow him to beat up a drone on TV, or you allow him to have his 5-10 minute segments. At the moment, they're great. At the moment, Jericho is getting everyone over. And I said this, I went on a massive praise for Chris Jericho last week. I just see a danger sign to it. It starts to become cliquey funny, just for the very same reason I don't like being the elite. I don't like that stuff. I just think they've got to be careful of still putting the inner circle over as a formidable force. And maybe, I know it's the pandemic, but they should stop doing some of this comedy shit and actually beat the fuck out of some guys.
Do you think Chris Jericho is getting free reign to do whatever he wants to do because they have a limited roster and they need more TV time to be covered?
I think it's a bit of that, but I think it is a lot of the fact that Chris Jericho knows that he got AEW a TV deal, and AEW knows that Chris Jericho got them a TV deal. I'm not saying that Chris Jericho is the same as Hulk Hogan. I'm not saying that he's going to go into business for himself. I am saying that right now he thinks everything he does is great because everything he does is great. But how long is that going to last? And by the time
it might never end. It might always be great.
It might always be great, but it might not. And by the time that it's not great, Chris Jericho is controlling the company.